One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take some chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though?
What's going down? It's gonna be a spicy one, huh?
Man, got another week done passed, and we back again. So, for you new ones on here, I'm Morris Bishop. That's Mike Ball, and it's the Dominant Effect. So, this week we're going to try to dig into this project 2025 a little bit. I've been watching a lot of videos about this, and it's a lot of back and forth with it. I've seen some videos where people were saying it was a good idea. I've seen some where people said that it's the worst idea ever because it's taking away a lot of rights, a lot of programs, stuff like that. So we're gonna dig into it a little bit and try to get some kind of clarity out of it, and kind of see the do's, the don'ts, the ins and outs on what we got here, and see what we can come out of this. And by the end of this, we're going to figure out whether this is something that's a good idea or just a conservative ploy that's going to be a very bad idea. But first, we got a got a guest that's going to be with us this evening. To give a little introduction, because we're going to have a female on here this time. Everybody used to us having men on here.
That's right.
So we done dipped over, and we got us a female on here, but not just any female, not just anyone. So let me do a little introduction on her. She's been a business owner for the past 25 years, a achievement performance coach, average reader, writer. She holds a bachelor's, master's, and a PhD in chemistry. She's a service provider trainer for the aesthetic industry. She's also a content creator on YouTube. So
nice.
So we're going to give a Diamond Effect welcome to Dr. Marnita.
That's right.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, good. We had a couple conversations about this, and I asked you to come on because I wanted to get the female objective to this, because a lot of things dealing with this Project 2025 is dealing with women. So I'm going to, but before we get into it, I got a short video here. It's probably about 3.5 minutes. Kind of gives a rundown on this, and then after that, we're gonna dive into it.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
You might have seen there's this big New York Times story today. Big story, very important story, about how the leading Republican presidential candidate, Donald Trump, and Republicans more broadly, have this plan that they want to put in place if the Republican Party wins the presidency in 2024. They're calling it Project 2025 because this is a plan that's supposed to go into effect upon the inauguration of Donald Trump in 2025. Either Trump or some other Republican president gets inaugurated in January of 2025, and Project 2025 thereby goes into effect. This plan is being coordinated by a right-wing think tank called the Heritage Foundation, and it is a plan to radically change the form of governance that we have in the United States so as to concentrate all the power of the government in the hands of a single leader. Quote, our current executive branch was conceived of by liberals. What's necessary is a complete system overhaul. Quote, what we're trying to do is identify the pockets of independence inside the U.S. government and seize them. Seize them. So there won't be any more pockets of independent power outside the power that is held by the president. Now, as I said, they want this to be Donald Trump. They want him to be the guy in whose hands all this power is concentrated. But they say they would plan to do this with any Republican president. The plan is to change the structure of the U.S. government so the next president, the next Republican president, will take direct control of all state power. He would, for example, take over all federal law enforcement and run that directly for his own benefit through the DOJ. There would be no more independence of federal law enforcement. The next president would take control of private business in this country for his own benefit through the powers of the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. The next president would revive an old and, I should say, illegal practice called impoundment, which would basically take away the fundamental powers of Congress and put that power, too, in Trump's hands. Again, identify the pockets of independence and seize them. So instead of checks and balances and limited government, we'd have more of a strongman system of government. We'd have a single leader with all the power of the state personally arrogated to him. No other part of the government, no other thing in the country at all would be allowed to constrain him. That sounds nice. It at least sounds simple. That said, it is obviously fundamentally opposite to the whole idea of why we exist as a country in the first place. And I think it's no surprise to see an article like this, to see reporting like this in the Times today. I think everybody sort of knows that this is where the American political right, where the Republican Party has been heading in the Trump era. But still, I think the reason this reporting today is getting so much attention and causing so much consternation is because, however much this might be the dream of the Trump era right wing in American politics, for the most part, the American people really don't want this. And so it's one thing to sort of see it hinted at or to feel like this is the kind of system they'd like to replace our system with. It's another thing to see it in black letter print, right? To find out that they've put a name on it, that it's a project that has an implementation date and they're getting it ready. I mean, in general, by and large, the American people don't want to live under a single leader who has concentrated all power in his own hands and nothing constrains him and nothing else matters other than his own whims and preferences and grudges. You don't want to live in a country under a leader like that who's a good guy, let alone a leader like that who's a bad guy. I mean, you don't have to be a civics dork to know that you don't want that. and I think by and large, the American people really don't.
All right.
Okay, so I played that video just to try to catch everybody up as to what was going on. Now, mind you, that was Rachel Maddow, so it's going to be somewhat biased. So you got to get.
Of course,
you got to give and take
on every sides, right?
Right.
Whether it be
right. That's what I'm saying. You got to give and take because if you go on Fox, they're going to say something totally different.
Right.
But the fundamental thing is still the same. Okay. Now, I didn't go through 900 pages of this. I didn't have time for it.
No, neither did I.
That's
But-
a whole nonsense.
I do want to say one thing real quick before we do hop into this, because there was a little bit of a misconstrued notion as soon as Trump takes office that this would go into effect. I want everyone to remember that this is only a plan drawn up by a think tank. It is not a law. It is not a bill. It is not even an official Republican Party plan. And if most of this was put into effect, it would definitely face a lot of legal challenges almost immediately. So I just want to throw that out there immediately.
Right. Now, some of the people that's over the Heritage Foundation were also ex-Trump employees during his presidential tenure. So a lot of these people that's in this Heritage Foundation is actually people that used to work for him.
Yes.
So now I will say that ever since this has actually gotten out, he has came on TV several times and basically denounced it and said that he didn't know anything about it. And this was new to him. He had no idea.
Right.
But here later on, I'm gonna show that some of the people that he actually ran with, like John McAtee, Steve Bannon, they're all a part of this.
Yes,
So,
I fully 100% believe that Trump knows about it. No doubt.
Yeah. So he's saying he don't know about it. He know about it.
Yeah, I'm going to give you Trump's actual quote. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things that they are saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. So that is his official quote. Right.
Now, like I said, a lot of these people that's involved with this, because not only is it the Heritage Foundation, but there's also 100 other companies that's a part of this as well. Now, to say that nobody knew anything about this is kind of crazy, being the fact that they've been in actual Senate hearings talking about this.
Right, they have a lot.
Yeah, and I had a couple here on video to show that the people who was actually involved in that, actually doing these Senate majority hearings, were asking them questions about this. So you would think if this was just some hogwash or just something that somebody this this group of conservatives just got together and came up with this plan. Why did it make it all the way up to have a Senate majority hearing about it? So there has to be something. Has to be something.
There's a middle ground. There's a middle ground to everything.
So one of the things that from that first video that we seen was that they were trying to expand presidential power, where basically he was basically over everything. So that's when it turns from a democracy to a dictatorship. Is that what that means?
Yeah.
That's kind of what that means when you got one person that's over everything. Now, like I said, before we go any further, let me say this. This is only what we seeing in here.
Right.
Okay. We're only talking about what we're seeing in here. We're not saying this is factual. We're saying that being the fact that they haven't seen the majority hearings on it and they talking about it, is some kind of truth to it.
Right.
But we're gonna dig into it to see exactly what it is. Okay, and kind of dissect some of the things that that kind of stands out that's important. Like I said, expand presidential power. The second thing was deconstruct the administrative state. You had one on here where they're trying to reverse the FDA approval on abortion medication. They're also doing blocking gender affirming healthcare, eliminate the EPA, dismantle the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA, which I don't know why they would do that, because that's who tells you whether you got tornadoes and hurricanes and
right.
coming. I don't know why you try to dismantle that. And one of the biggest ones that caught my attention was to eliminate the Department of Education.
Right.
That was one of the biggest ones that caught my attention. But then, as we, you know what, I'm gonna ask you, why do you think that eliminating the Department of Education, why do you think that they added that to this list?
I think they have their own agenda. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of the Department of Education myself, based on how our kids are coming out in this current state and time. Even though I have been through the whole system, if I wasn't an advocate for self-learning, I wouldn't be where I am today. The Department of Education didn't instill that in me. And so what I believe, because he's recruiting people for this playbook, for this plan, to be ready for day one when they get into office. He wants to be over all the training, and I'm not surprised that training might overflow into the Department of Education. He wants everybody subjected to their agenda as it relates to the right-wing conservative side, period. There's no room for, no wiggle room for like a gray area. Like, he wants it his way or no way. And he calls the left side, in the document when I was reading, he calls it anti-American. So if you don't agree with his agenda, you're automatically anti-American. I think that's pretty amazing.
And when you keep saying he and his, is that meaning Trump?
Yeah, president.
Okay.
Yeah, the one president. Well, he was president. He's not president right
Former
now.
president.
Hopefully he won't be. Hopefully he won't be president. In my opinion, there may be some people on here who think differently, but I certainly, I can't. I just can't.
Well, the one thing that I gotta say is it wasn't Trump that put this in, wrote all this down. It's three.
I get that part.
They're not actually. I mean, they are affiliated, but they're not like this goes as soon as 2025 goes. The next Republican, whoever the next Republican candidate would be in office, it doesn't mean it automatically goes into effect, right? It's kind of like a plan that, Ronald Reagan was last to use one of these. And of course it changed, the verbiage, everything changed as well. So yes, there was a big change, but it's not like Trump is endorsing it, because he's actually not. But as he's stepping away from it, as he says.
Well, that's what you say, but
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, so what's your answer dealing with the Department of Education?
Well, with the Department of Education, I know that there's going to be multiple breakdowns of like them actually wanting to, let's say, dismantle it, right? And on the Department of Education, if this comes into effect, we would revert to using the sex of the child that he or she was born with as their, this is my opinion, right? There is only two genders, and I have to agree with this point. Also, Pell Grants have accumulated $22.5 billion, and it's oversaw outlays of close to $100 billion in direct student loans. So I can understand why they're looking at it from like a financial standpoint, and I'm not, and like kind of like what Doctor here said, that I don't necessarily support 100% the Department of Education, but at the same token, you can't abolish it, right? So I do see that how they want to try to break this down a little bit more and more. Also the way that they do sex ed and stuff like this, and what pronouns you can use and cannot use and stuff like that. So I understand this, and most of that I have to agree with.
Okay, so let me tell you what I found out. Just going through, just reading a lot of this stuff here. And like I said, this is the stuff that we're talking about here is all in a 900-page plan.
Yes, it's huge.
Basically a playbook that whomever on the Republican side won, whether it's Trump or whomever, that they could initiate this within the first 180 days in office.
Right.
Now, first off, let's go back a second, because this project 2025 is actually a lot like Newt Gingrich's plan back in 2000 called the Contract for America, where they went through and wasn't 900 pages, but they went through and basically tried to, simplify everything and take certain things out that was in, kind of, during that time, you didn't have gender equality and all that stuff. So, what I mean? So as the years came on, of course, you add more and more to it. And then boom, you got 900 pages when I'm pretty sure that when Newt Gingrich put out his, I think his was like a little less than 200 pages. But here's the thing that maybe a lot of people did not know. The U.S. Constitution does not give you the right to education.
That's right. It doesn't. Sadly.
So a lot of people are complaining mostly about doing away with the Department of Education, because you notice now everybody pays a school tax.
Right.
Whether you have a child that's in school or not.
Yes.
You still paying a school tax. So a lot of them want that gone simply for the fact that you are now paying taxes and giving that money to the schools, but I don't have no kid in school.
Right.
Or my kid is going to a private school or a vocational school. So they like, okay, so why am I paying this? Because this is going to public school and my kid's going to the private school. So why am I paying this? So that's one of the first things. Now, what was also in here was that if they did away with the Board of Education, with the Department of Education, that the money that was there would then take that money and put it over and give it to the private and the vocational schools.
Interesting.
Now, by doing that, you have a violation, separation between church and state. Because why are you taking public money and giving to private school and church schools?
Right.
So now you in violation there. Okay. So you have a problem there. Now, alongside of that, they're also trying to do away with all the DEI programs, the diversity, ethnic, and inclusion. So they're trying to do away with that. Now, Florida number one, Ron DeSantis, he was trying to do it, trying to take it away from schools where you couldn't have African American studies uh, in any AP classes, and then they try to do it to where they basically just try to wipe that part of history out to where the kids don't even know it. So why teach history when you're not going to tell them all of it? You're not going to teach them everything. That's not history.
Right.
Okay. Now you have 18 states already that has eliminated the DEI programs so far, which is, you would think that would be unconstitutional, but like I said, education is not in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no actual right to education. So that's the reason why I asked you. I just wanted to see
where
you
the
both
mindset
when it
was.
came to that. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because this is something that I bet you a lot of people really didn't even know.
Right. I'm going to sit here in a minute and tell you that I didn't know that.
Right. So you would think, though, of course, you got kids, you want to raise your kids, you want them to learn, you want them to grow, you want them to thrive. You don't want to take care of them when they're 40 years old and still living with you. You know what I mean? You want them to be able to learn and be able to leave. You know what I mean? That's the whole, as a parent, that's one of the things that you hope for. You get 18 and see you. You know what I mean? You go fly away. I'm gonna push you out the nest. You know what I mean? If you hit the ground, I'm gonna pick you up and dust you off a little bit, and I'm gonna send you back on your way. You know what I mean? You still got to learn how to fly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what they're doing here. Now, I went through and looked up exactly how many different sections that they had in this whole program. There is 33 different things that they're trying to either amend,
abolish,
or do away with.
Right.
33 different things. Now, you already, like I said, we already talked about the education. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read off maybe 2 or 3, and then I'm gonna let y'all jump in and see
where we're at.
Sure. Point of view on it. Okay. The first one in it was it ends no fault divorce. So they doing away with that altogether. A complete ban on abortions, no exceptions. That's in all 50 states. You cannot have an abortion. You cannot buy the morning after pill. You cannot buy the one prescription medication that they use to have like self-abortion, stuff like that. Nothing. If you do, that is a federal offense.
Yes.
It's a federal crime. And they ban in all contraceptives whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
All of them. There's even a thing on here that says that if you excessively watch porn,
yes,
that is an offense.
I read that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna let y'all comment on them couple things that I said right there, and then we're gonna keep going.
My question begins: How much room as a country are we going to give an administration to reach into our homes? Where does my free will end and where does it begin? I mean, there should not be a boundary where I can choose what I want to do whenever. It does not make sense to me. And it's it's just like taking away any type of rights that I would have as a person, much less a citizen. Just doesn't make sense to me.
So what do you think, Mike?
On abortion, okay? And I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, okay? And I probably will lose a few of you guys here. But I do believe in Christian ethics, okay? This is personal. I am strongly against any type of abortion. It's murder of a human being. In regards to divorce and custody of children, since the sexual revolution, we have not only seen a massive increase in divorce rates, but it's now becoming enticing / beneficial to women to leave a marriage. There is zero repercussions for a woman leaving a relationship at this point. We have incentivized these women to have single parent homes, including funding them through the state and also getting massive tax benefits or breaks. I truly believe that we have, since the sexual revolution, that we have attacked the core foundation of what this country was built off of, and it's the family unit.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a section in there where they were talking about bringing back the actual family unit, mother, father,
right,
kids. There was a section on there dealing with that. They also have one in here that was the, and this goes back to the LGBTQ community, where you have same-sex marriages that is done.
Right.
And they also had a tough immigration stance where basically anybody that's in the United States that should not be in the United States, they doing a mass deportation. And this has been for ages when you have a someone who comes over to this country that's not supposed to be here, and they have a child here, so the child could actually stay. Well, according to this, no, that don't happen either. They doing away with that too. So when the parents go, kid going too. That was one of the other things that I seen on there. They have a let's see, elimination of union and worker protections, raising the retirement age. Again, I mean, before you know it, you're gonna be 80 years old, still working, can't retire. Cut Social Security, cut Medicare, end the Affordable Care Act, raise prescription drugs prices, take the public taxpayer money for private and religious schools, and end the free and discounted lunch programs.
Right.
And a lot of people use that.
Yep.
Yeah.
A huge amount. And it would be devastating to see those be abolished. And a lot of what you just rattled off, I don't agree with. You know what I mean? I just don't.
Right. I mean, but we all knew, I know when I was younger, people used to say, well, before you get ready to retire, there's not going to be a Social Security.
Right.
Because there is the thing that I never figured out with Social Security is Social Security is not, it's a fund, but it's not a fund to where it generates.
Correct.
Right.
It has to constantly be added to.
Right. It's whatever you paying, whatever everybody's paying right now goes right back out. They never put it into something to where it's actually generating money on its own, so that the money that is taken in is not the money that goes out. It's, it can keep replenishing itself, and it could actually grow to the point that it would have longevity to it.
Right.
But that's not what it is.
That's
It's
not what it is.
you come here and it goes right back out. So we got so you got that. Now, they've been talking about cutting Medicare, and they've been cutting that, they've been having cuts on that for a while. I mean, they've also been cutting people that was getting SNAP and WIC and
Right.
And everything else. I think they cut what it was like over $1 million that they cut dealing with that. And they said that a lot of it was due to so many people that had got assistance during COVID, but they never went back and actually changed it. So now they're going back now and taking it off. But if you look at some of this stuff here that's on this list, like I said, I'm not even nowhere close to being done with this list. Some of this stuff is actually being done right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been in play for a while. Even if you go all the way back to Reagan, it wasn't as overt as it is now. I believe I was reading in a document where Reagan had began to implement based on that playbook. At the time, it was a think tank, probably some of the agenda and policies that was in there. And this is not something that's new. It's been going on, but it's been in the undercurrent of the whole governmental system. And it's just now that everybody is becoming aware of it. And how it's going to really impact people's lives is going to take away so many things that people have benefited from for so long. But again, I do believe that people are going to have to become more responsible for their own lives at some point. What the education system is not teaching people how to do in the grand scheme of things is teaching them how to think for themselves. They are teaching them how to follow templates and frameworks and how to go to a job and do what the job tells them, but they're not teaching them how to think. That's why the think tank was put into place like in the 70s. So these guys got together as a think tank and came up with this Heritage Foundation. It's now called the Heritage Foundation, but it's going to require people exercising their ability, their God-given right to begin thinking for themselves and not relying on other people, relinquishing their power to think for them. That's why we're in the situation that we're in right now.
Exactly. What was the saying that I've said it a couple of times in a show that Ben Franklin said? It said that the more security that you ask for, the less freedom you have.
Right.
Yep. Because you have no responsibility. Responsibility.
Right. So the more you ask for them to do, then the less. Then I mean, it's like the more they're gonna do over on this end, the more they're gonna take from you on this one. Now, when we was talking about the banning of contraceptives, now you know that's birth control, that's IVF treatments, in vitro fertilization treatments. So you basically gonna do away with all that. So you about to start a baby boom here for real. Because if you can't,
right.
But
well, we are in a population crisis, you know. So
well, it's a population crisis now, yeah. But I'm saying if you take away contraceptives, birth control, what are you doing? You adding more people, right?
People to the
well,
population.
it teaches both parties that are consenting to having sex together that they practice safe sex and definitely don't. If you don't want to have her pregnant, I mean, there are like things like condoms. There are, and I do know that there are failures and stuff like that, but that is the risk that you take having sex. End of story.
But isn't condoms a contraceptive?
No, I wouldn't say that's birth control. No.
But they use it is used for birth control, right?
It's I guess you can sit here and say that is a form, but that is not killing something. That is literally stopping something from going into your body.
Right, right. But I'm saying, but what they're doing is they're trying to ban all contraceptives. Now, even with birth control ain't killing nothing.
I do know that they would do that with birth control.
Is basically stopping the egg from being fertilized. It's not killing anything. So what are you gonna do? So everybody gonna do the pull-out plan now from now on?
Just don't be so reckless.
Everybody gonna do the pull-out plan?
I don't think I don't believe in just casual hooking up, you know, like everyone else in this country believes that we should just have. I just don't think that is the correct way to go about this at all.
Now I got a little short video here that they're talking about the contraceptive with the birth control and IVF treatments. Let me hit this one right quick. It's fairly short, but puts a little information out of it.
But I want to be very clear that this was intentional and that this is exactly what Republicans have been going for. We've seen it. You have the Heritage Foundation, you have lots of folks who are on record saying, you know, not only do they want to go after abortion, not only do they want to go after reproductive freedom, they're going after IVF, they're going after contraception. We have a mifepristone ruling that is coming down from the Supreme Court, and Clarence Thomas enriching himself from the same folks who are saying that they are trying to control women's bodies quite explicitly, and going beyond that. They also want to control what they call recreational sex.
Yes.
Recreational sex. This is so clearly a patriarchal theocracy that has embodied itself in the DNA of an entire political party in the United States of America. And as women and as any non-binary and queer person in this country, they must be defeated. There should never be room for this kind of control by force over another person's body in this country. And they can walk it back as much as they want. They have done this. Who put those judges there? Not Democrats, not independents. Republicans put those judges in there. Republicans are taking women's bodies by force, and we cannot let them do it. It has to come to an end.
All right.
So what do you think about that, Doc?
I agree with her 100%, hands down. Like you're trying to take us back hundreds of years. Like as women, we have come so far, and just to dismantle our rights, just to be under this what did she say? Patriarchal? Patriot? I forget how
patriotic. Yeah, being in a patriarchy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I see the right conservative wing is doing. They don't want women to have any rights.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with her 100%.
I have a question. Can you name a single matriarchy that's ever worked in the world?
A single what?
A matriarchy. There's a reason why patriarchies do work, though.
No, so say culture.
Well, can you name another matriarchy then?
I can't. But that doesn't mean it can't work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, times have changed. So yeah, it could actually work.
That's just what we have been indoctrinated with over for years. That does not mean it cannot work.
Okay.
And every time we get an opportunity or get closer to an opportunity, something like this could happen, which it push us hundreds of years back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, but like I said, even with that, like I said, times has changed. I mean, you look at what we're looking at now. Okay, we're a couple months away from an election, and we got two people older than Jesus running for real.
Well,
and when you look at it, it's kind of scary when you look at it, because like I said, I'm not either way, but when you look at it, look at this. You got one here that's was he 81, 82. You got one here that's 79. Both of them are the oldest and the oldest running.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, out of both sections, these are your best two out of both sections. Okay.
Which is terrible.
Right.
And that's terrible for sure.
So if anybody listening right now, and you can say that these two are the best two in
out of the entire country. Yeah.
That means everybody else that you voted for ain't shit.
Mm-hmm.
If them two are the oldest one, you got Moses and Jacob. You got the two oldest people almost on the planet.
Right. It's true.
That's the best you have.
It is pretty sad, because it comes down to money, right? You know what I mean? And unfortunately, little guys like me and you, everyone down here in the little realm, we just never gonna get there. You know, can I raise $300 million? Is that real? Can I even raise $1 million? You know, the normal person like me and you cannot just do this. You have to have some serious connections. You have to have, I mean, lifelong connections.
Well, you got to think about this. A lot of these ones here that's running, either number one, had money when they came, family wealth, or they've been in the Senate so long, the Senate and the Congress so long, they've been there. You know what I mean? They never went nowhere. You know what
Well,
I mean? So,
I don't know when this, getting into government was supposed to be a job in the first place. I thought it was a service to the people. And what I don't understand is how you're, making $105,000 as a senator, but living in a $10 million mansion. I just don't understand that.
well, see, that's where your lobbyists come in. That's where your little under the table deals come in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you said, and we said it 1,000 times, this is two wings of the same bird. You know what I mean? A lot of them get there and they stay there, but they stay there for a reason, because the lobbyists behind them is making sure that they get there. That's where that money comes from. You know what I mean? So you gotta put it for what it is. You gotta call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
100%.
This
it is an issue. We need term limits.
Like I said, now, like with some of the stuff I see on here, some of the stuff you see like, some of this, yeah, I could probably go with. Some of this would be okay. But then it's like I said, you got a lot of it on here that's like, okay, so it makes sense, because a lot of it is targeting women for real. A lot of it really is targeting women in here, and it's targeting single women.
Yeah, it's a major section of the whole playbook, of the whole entire playbook.
So that was one where they it's kind of like they give you a little bit over here, and then they take a little bit from over here. You know what I mean? So like, I'm gonna give you this, but I'm gonna take this. So you kind of going back and forth. But let me dip back down into this list that we got here. Let me see. I stopped at the lunch program, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you have the end of civil rights, DEI protection, banning African American gender studies in all educational institutions, ban books and curriculums about slavery, increase Arctic drilling for oil and natural resources.
Why would they take away books on slavery? I just don't understand. That's history. It actually happened. So
that's the thing. History has been altered from day one.
A lot of this, like I would say half of this, I just don't agree with at all. And I'm obviously right, Republican, right? So I can be fair and understand when things are out of line, for sure.
Right. You know what I mean? History has been modified from day one.
Right. It has.
So that's a part of one of the things dealing with this education system that I had an issue with, is because we've all been to school, and you notice that a lot of the history that I know now, I learned after I got out of school.
Yeah,
I never learned while I was in school.
Same here. Yes, sir.
Because they gave you a curriculum of what they wanted to teach you.
Yep.
Not the stuff that you actually wanted to know or that you needed to know. You know what I mean? So the only thing that you knew about slavery when you was in school is you read Uncle Tom's Cabin or Harriet Tubman. You read them two books right there. Other than that, you ain't know nothing else.
Right.
They may have told you something about Frederick Douglass that was about this much. And they taught you that only in February during Black History Month. That was it. That was all. And the rest of the time, you didn't know about nothing. You know what I mean? So the actual history that you learned once you got out of school, because they hid a lot of stuff. They hid a lot.
So now they're talking about taking away the little bit that they do teach.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So if you take that out, okay, so what are you doing? You basically just gonna
try to erase
white out that part of history?
Right, white out.
Like like that didn't happen.
Well, based on like the little bit that I did read, if you're not in alignment with their agenda, you're anti-American. So if you're not succumbing to like their agenda, their policies, then you're not American. That's what it says.
And I wonder who said that, because I know that there was 3 people that wrote up this plan.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't pay attention who wrote that
No
particular.
worries. But
let me see.
It's in the beginning somewhere.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Let me play something right quick.
Go ahead.
I think this video has made me rethink the 19th Amendment.
Will women have the right to vote tomorrow if you wave that magic Christian wand?
No.
A federal ban on abortion, ban mifepristone, ban stem cell research, and expand access to fertility awareness family planning methods.
If you dress like that and you get raped and I'm on the jury, he's going to go free.
You're in your early 30s. I'm sorry. It's like you're not as attractive in the dating pool as you were in the early 20s.
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
These women are getting paid salaries to play for a league that, economically speaking, shouldn't exist.
Abortion's not health care.
We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up.
Okay, so serious question from Insane Throttle. From Hollywood himself, I would like to ask a serious question. The Democrats were the party of slavery, Jim Crow, and the White Hoods. What policies have helped Black Americans?
None from neither side.
Right. And as he says, he continues on, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Memphis, and so on has their policies made life better? And I would say no.
None from neither side. And let me tell you this, Hollywood. There has been no policy from no president to help Black people at all. At all. Now, you go from, okay, we sitting here talking about right now where you basically erasing Black history. But what about Italian history? What about Chinese history? What about actual white history? Because guess what? Y'all ain't from here either.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It's true.
Now, the only time that Black politics come up and you worry about what you bringing into the Black community is
when they're trying to get your vote
during election season. That's the only time
they're trying to get your vote
about it.
Right.
So let's not talk about whether it's Republican or Democrat. It's Republican, Democrat, Independent. None of them give a shit.
That's correct.
About it. Can we move on?
Absolutely.
All right. So next one we got is promote and expedite capital punishment.
Wow.
So there is no waiting period. You get sentenced. That's your sentence. It goes through within, I think it says on here, within 60 days.
Wow. What about?
There is no people sitting there on death row forever, as they've been sitting there 10, 15 years and all that. No. This is what you got sentenced with. We're gonna go and end that. Ain't no point in paying for these people for extra years and all that stuff as needed. In marriage equality. Condemn single mothers and promote only traditional families.
Well, mother, father, child.
Mother, father, child.
Yeah. Just not basically same sex or transgender.
See, now with that though, I kind of wonder, like, okay, so like, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? It ain't like you can make the baby mama go back with the baby daddy or whatever.
No,
you know what I mean?
You can't.
Because they also say on here that if the woman, if she's a single mother and she has a boyfriend in the house, that does not promote family traditions, or you know what I mean. So that boyfriend should not be living in the house.
That's too much.
Okay. So what do you do?
It's true though. So
what do you do?
I get it, but
so you can't make these people live together.
No,
so
you
what
can't.
do you do?
You force them not to either. And I understand that's an overreach, 100%. And I think most of it in here is an overreach. And I think it's definitely something that is not actually going to come into play. First of all, I want to say this didn't really become a big topic up until when, right? So this became like a talking point. And I actually wrote this down. So the Democrats are sick and tired of discussing the debate and how Biden's performance was. They do not like that they are taking such scrutiny. So Biden did what he knows best, deflection. Biden and his team specifically started using the Project 2025 as a hitting point to the Republican Party, and he's seen some progress using this tactic. Now, remember what I referred to in the very beginning of the top of the show. Remember that this is only a plan drawn up by a think tank. This is not a law. It is not a bill. It's not even an official Republican Party plan.
Okay. So you saying that
this is a bit of propaganda.
So you saying that this just came out here recently?
I would say that it was a huge talking point just starting about a week ago. It really wasn't discussed up until a week ago. Not like this. Look at how all the CNN coverage, PBS,
No. I'm asking you for a reason. When do you think this stuff started being talked about?
Oh, years ago, for sure. Like when they started creating this like Project 2025, for sure.
No, I mean like when they actually start going in public and actually talking about it to people.
I honestly don't know the answer to that question, but I will tell you that it started getting popular in the liberal news as soon as the debate was over.
Well, actually, it was actually before then.
Okay.
That actually started. It's actually started being talked about when they started having the Senate majority hearings back a few months ago.
Well,
that's when
all I can tell you is
debate.
even going into this topic and researching it and stuff, there is still not that much out there. There still is not an insane amount of information on this. It's not widely reported, and like I said, it was a huge talking point for the liberal media. It was just deflection at this point because most of this is propaganda.
And you know why it hasn't been the main talking point to a lot of people?
A lot of people don't know.
3 words. People don't read. That's why.
A lot of people don't know about it still.
That's true.
They don't read. True. Now I will say this. Now, like I said, I know you Republican, that's your business. I don't give a shit.
Right. And most of the time, as you know, I never even bring up politics unless we're talking specifically about this. But yes.
Right. Yeah. So I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
My thing is this. Now, I know for certain that this has been talked about for a while now. They've had actual special gatherings where this is what they have been promoting to people for a while. And these people that I'm talking about Steve Bannon, which was Trump's ace boom, and John McAfee. Now, I'm going to show you instead of telling it.
Tell us what you're doing at Heritage. You two are now working together. These guys have come up with the plan. And on the victory, the third victory, the second term, we hit the deck plates running, right? There's 4,000 appointees by a president, 4,000 to run the entire government. 1,000 of those, I think, have to be Senate confirmed. But 3,000 can start work day one. Walk through what you guys are doing. I know, and I keep asking, do you work for Johnny or does Johnny work for you, right?
I definitely work for John. So what we're doing with Project 2025 is we're recruiting the MAGA America First Republicans right now so that we can take DC by storm in 2025. We're not going to go in like we did in 2017 where the establishment took over and co-opted much of the personnel of President Trump's administration. We're more prepared this time. We're recruiting grassroots conservatives, and we want all of you, if you want to serve in the next White House, next State Department, next Pentagon, we want you to sign up. Tell your sons, tell your daughters, tell all your friends. It's project2025.org.
So, Johnny, okay, you heard that? If if you guys want to serve, you've got to get engaged now. You've got to be involved now, because one of the big parts of this is networking. It's not just training people up, but there's networks that we do with grassroots organizations, with other organizations. Tell me what the plan is.
So we're collecting resumes. We're getting as much information as we can now to save the transition time on the back end. As you know, when a president wins, or president-elect wins, things happen very quickly, and you have a short amount of time to staff an entire administration. It's also looking beyond the 4,000 and what we can do with the bureaucracy itself. So we're thinking of creative policy things as well that will integrate with this.
Well, hold it. When we talk about that, let's talk about schedule. I mean, is there going to be a plan in place to start to take apart the administrative state?
There has to be, and yes, there will be. The next president, if President Trump gets back in there, he needs to reorient the government that's in a way that hasn't been seen since Franklin Roosevelt did with the New Deal. We need to gut these agencies. We need to start from scratch. We need to make a new government, essentially, because the one that we have now doesn't work for conservatives. It wasn't made for us. It's built against us. So we have to go back to the drawing board with these.
All right. Welcome back, everyone.
Okay, so that right there. They've been holding this up. They've been holding gatherings and stuff like that, recruiting people, trying to get people sign up and the whole thing. So,
I believe it.
So you can't say that this is just Democratic propaganda. Now, are the Democrats using that in their favor? Yes, can say that. But it's not Democratic propaganda if you're going around and you having sections like this where you're going through recruiting people and this is what you're telling them.
So, I mean, you don't see them as just radicalized people, just doing what radical. I mean, do you really think that most Trump people that support Trump or the Republican Party would agree 100% with this?
Well,
if they really knew what was in the whole 987 pages or whatever it is, do you think that people would actually back this, such as myself?
I'm not saying everybody, but what I'm also saying is that you know that them three people that was talking right there was also in Trump's administration.
Right, and I do agree that is actually a thing. You know, I know that Trump's team is actually involved in this, and hence why Trump saying that he knows nothing about this is BS. I know that.
I mean,
you know what I mean.
I mean, everybody's first thing when you ask them some shit that they know about, they don't want to talk about it. First thing they're gonna do is deny. You already know that. Now, you also know that you have Republicans that don't even like Trump, but they go along with the party.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean I agree with you.
Well, that goes for the liberals too.
Yeah.
We're talking about Trump because you brought up Trump.
Okay.
It goes all around. Some of them just vote for shit simply because they say, "Oh, I'm a Democrat. I'm voting Democrat." Republicans will just say, "Okay, I'm just gonna vote Republican because I'm
sticking to the party."
Right, I gotta stick with it. I made my choice. I gotta stick with it, whether I like it or not.
The only defense I can give to that is the same thing with the other party. Same thing.
That's why I keep saying. How many times I keep saying? Two wings of the same bird. They're
Mm-hmm.
both doing the same shit.
100%.
You know what I mean? But we just talking about this because this is an actual conservative agenda, not a Democratic agenda.
Correct.
So you're gonna hear a lot about Republican and Trump or whatever because that's the party that's going with it. Now the man said that he don't have no problem with it, and they also came up with another thing. What was it? Article 47. I started reading on that today. Now, and that's something that's different than what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, that's something that his staffers actually put out and said, no, we're not doing this program, this Project 2025. We're doing Article 47. But if you read Article 47, though, some of this is in Article 47, though. Some of it is in there, not all of it, but some of it. Now, here's the thing. Even with going through all of this, where you're talking about defunding the FBI, defunding Homeland Security, ending birthright citizenship, mass deportation of immigrants in incarceration camps, eliminating the FDA, the EPA. using the military to break up domestic protests, adding 5 more conservative to the Supreme Court and other lower courts. Changed the Department of Health and Human Services to Department of Life, and purging the civil service. Now, you basically done went through just about the whole damn government, just
and all the agencies, right?
That you're basically gonna either change or do away with or reword it or
restructure,
reroute who you answer to or whatever. Now, if any of this, let's just say any of this, come into play, especially with the last stuff that I read there, where you're going through the actual government to only, let's just say everybody answers to this one person, including Congress. That is no longer a democracy.
Right. I don't support that whatsoever. I do not believe in a dictatorship whatsoever.
That's no longer a democracy. That's a straight up modern day dictatorship. Hell, it's just like hell. That ain't no different than Putin and Kim Jong-il and
yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I don't even think that we should be a democracy. In all fairness, I think we should be a republic. You know, I think you should have skin in the game in order to vote. In my opinion, I think that you should actually have something where you have something of like you have something in the game. There's too many people that just don't have anything in the game, and their vote it's worth just as much as anybody else's.
Have something in the game, as in what?
Let's say you actually own something, like you're paying taxes into the system. If you're not paying taxes, I don't think that you should vote at all. I don't think you should have the right.
So you think that you should not have the right to vote if you don't pay taxes?
Correct.
That's interesting.
Okay, so what about your retired people that's over 65 that don't have to pay taxes?
That's different. If they have worked their life, and most likely by then they probably own some land. That's what a republic is. That's how we started.
Not necessarily.
But everybody doesn't have the opportunity to earn.
Not everybody owns land. Not everybody has land. Like I said, that's the whole reason for having a democracy from the first place. From the time you were born, you have the same rights and liberties and privileges as everybody else from day one. So the only person that can take that away from you should consequently be you.
Yeah.
You end up getting yourself locked up and you doing 10, 15, 20 years in prison. Okay, so that's your fault.
That was on you, right?
So those rights you no longer have. But other than that, you know what I mean? I know a whole lot of people that don't own no land. I know people in their 60s and 70s don't own no land. You know what I mean? So you can't really say like, okay, well, you really don't have shit, so you don't have no vote.
I think you should have some skin in the game, period.
What does that mean when you say, can you unpack that a little bit? What does that mean?
When you are a contributing member of society.
So a person can work their entire life and be a contributing member to society and still not own a home. Does that mean they have?
I didn't say the only qualification is owning land. I said that minimum requirement should be that you pay taxes.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't start as a democracy. You guys know that, right? Like we started as a republic.
I know, but I'm talking about what we are right now, though.
I know. I'm just giving you my personal opinion on it.
But you can't go, like I said, oh yeah, I'll get you on that. I'm saying, but you can't go that part there, you ain't gonna never be able to go back to. That ain't gonna never happen.
No, it won't happen. Correct.
Because back then, hell, you could own land and pay a little bit of nothing for it.
I mean, back then, you would go work, make a little tiny bit of money and go home to you get a whole grocery cart full of groceries, let's just say for $20, and then you're going home to your home that's worth $4,000. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's different times for sure. And big shout out real quick, Beezer with the $10 donation. I appreciate it, my man. Beer money for the apocalypse party. I love it, dude. Appreciate you.
And
Yes,
even
sir.
before that, though, where you had the homestead at, where you just go to the west and you just plot you, and you stick you a plot in the ground, and that's your spot. You know what I mean? Not like that anymore. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, like, I get where you at. I get where you
Mhm.
at with that. But I'm talking about more or less now because,
Right.
you know, people ain't gonna be organized anyway, and that's the biggest problem.
And that's
that
true.
goes for every. Not gonna be organized about shit. You know what I mean? Like, we're sitting here right now, and we're talking about this project here and what could happen if if you put this person in charge or somebody from that particular party in charge, and this is what's going to take place. But ask yourself this: as of right now, before all this, when it comes to these bills and these laws, how much power does the president have?
Realistically, not
None.
much.
None.
Mm-hmm.
Zero.
It comes down to Congress.
Right.
Exactly. So if Congress don't sign off on it, the House don't sign on it, Senate don't sign on it, it never even touches his desk, and he can't sign shit. So while everybody's sitting here doing this,
Yep.
Right.
you're both equally responsible.
Because it's a lot easier to point fingers.
It would never get there.
Right. It's a lot easier to point fingers than it is to point thumbs and take accountability. Correct.
Right. Now, second part. Now, and the second part to my little rampage here is that everybody's sitting here worried about Trump, you're worried about Biden, and who's gonna do what? How many of you can actually say that you know who your local leaders are?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Do you know who your actual senators in your state is?
Damn
or your
straight.
House members
That's
in
a
your
good,
state?
damn good question.
That's a good
Absolutely.
one.
I think everyone should ponder on that.
Right, because those are the ones that make the laws in the first place. So if you don't
Yep.
know them, why are you worried about them? Why are you worried
Correct.
about Trump and Biden if you don't know shit about these other ones over here? These are the ones that's making your laws.
Yep.
These are the ones that's having these clandestine meetings that's coming up with this shit right here.
Most people will only vote every 4 years, meaning for the president.
Mm-hmm.
And which is unfortunate because where it actually affects you is where you live.
Right, because that's not where, you know what I mean? That's the end of the government, not the beginning. That's not where these laws come in. You know what I mean? The only time that the president can turn around and put stuff in power right now is if he signs executive orders.
Correct.
That's it. And usually the first thing they do as soon as they get in office, what's today? I'm gonna make one executive order right now that every executive order that he made is
immediately.
done.
Right.
And then I'm gonna start writing mine. That's usually what
true.
happens.
Yep.
That's what he did
No.
last time.
Right. So you're gonna sit there and pencil whip a bunch of stuff because you're gonna put some stuff in play right now. But everything else that comes to a bill comes to a vote, which is your House and your Senate. So if you don't know who your House members are in your state, you don't know who your senators are in your state, these are the people that you skip over and you just be like, oh yeah, well, yeah, I'm just gonna vote for him because he's in here. These are the ones that's hosing you. These are the ones that's coming up with these old crazy bills. These are the ones who sit there and added 50 pages to the Restrict Act to where right now, everywhere in my house right now, they could be sitting here listening to every damn thing I'm talking about. Even if I wasn't on here,
100%.
they can sit here and listen to.
Yep. And
Without a court order,
we watched
without
that happen
install,
under the TikTok
without
bill.
Exactly. That's
Hidden.
what I'm talking about. The Restrict
Yep.
Act. So that's not Biden that did that. Now, did Biden sign it? Sure he did.
Of course.
But did it pass the House and the Senate? Yep. Sure did. Why?
Yep.
Because they knew on the back end of that what they was going to do. They were sitting here telling everybody, oh, well, we're going to keep people from China from knowing your business. But they didn't bother to tell you, oh, well, we're going to keep them from knowing your business, but we're going to know all your business.
Yeah.
Right. Which is sad for the American people. 100%.
So, like I said, so with this here, like I said, either with this or Article 47 or whatever, read some of this stuff. You know what I mean? You don't have to agree with it. Like I said, some stuff on here, you can make a look at it and be like, oh, yeah, you know what I mean? I can agree with that.
Right. There's going to be things,
You know what I mean?
but you
Some
got to
stuff
be
you're gonna be like,
informed.
oh hell no. Oh hell no. Can't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, you think about the world right now in 24 as opposed to what it was in 14, 15, 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
Total switch. You know what I mean? You got bills out right now where a 6-year-old has the power to tell you whether she's a boy or a girl without the parents have to say nothing.
Right.
Parents have no right to it whatsoever.
Yeah,
Who
that's
did
crazy.
that?
That's
Did
crazy.
Biden do that? No. Did Trump do it? No. Did Obama do it? No. Who did it? Senate.
Yep.
House.
Yep. They're the ones that pass it. 100%.
They're the ones that's passing this stupid shit. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you had what are you? Male, female. That's it.
Yep.
Now you got to list this damn long.
I know. And that's one of
We're
the
only
things that I
country to
said
do it, though.
that I
We're
agree
the
that
only
there should
country
only
that
be
does
two,
it.
but yep.
We're the only country to do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you're like, okay, I may be, I'm a dude Monday through Thursday. I'm half. I'm this, I'm that. I mean, you just don't fucking know.
Right.
Shit's crazy this day. So
it is.
Like I said, so some of this stuff, to be able to put it back into perspective, I can agree with. But there is some stuff on here that's a little far-fetched.
Absolutely, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the point that we're trying to make here is for people to set out and don't just look at it for 60 seconds on the news. Like, actually go on here, pull it up, and read what they're talking about.
Get informed. That's the best thing you can do as an American.
Right. Just look at it.
It's free. All you have to do is download it.
Yep.
Right. I mean, because if you look at this, there's something on this list. These 35 things. There's something on this list that pertains to every single person that's watching.
Yep. It would affect everybody.
At least one.
Yep.
At least one. Now, like you said, they say this is a playbook made by some conservatives, hoping that this takes place or whatever. Now, like I said, everybody is saying that no, ain't nobody vouching for this right now. See, ain't nobody vouching for it right now because it's main, like everybody talking about it. Ain't nobody gonna
Hence why even Trump is even distancing.
Right. Everybody gonna step back off of this.
Yes.
Everybody gonna step back off of this. But does that mean that come January 25 that we don't hear something about this again?
Oh, we will.
We will. Yeah, we will.
Right. I'm saying we don't know as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know whether we're gonna hear about this or not. You know what I mean? They may jump right up and say, I take full responsibility for this and all this about to get down. You know what I mean?
I can see about half of it being completely wiped out. You know what I mean? And then instead of it being a 987-page document, it goes down to 200. You know what I mean? They're gonna end up cutting a lot of that shit, guaranteed. There's no way it would pass the way it is.
That's just phase one. There's another rollout of something else that's coming behind this.
Well, I believe it. I believe that. I don't know what it is, but I believe it.
No one knows what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just like the noise before the real stuff gets rolled out. This is the noise, but you should still make yourself aware of what's in this document.
Absolutely.
So you have enough information to get out there and do, like, what are you going to do? Like, I watched this TikTok this morning that I sent to Bishop, and she was asking the question, what are you going to do? You have to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But like I said, like, this ain't no different than, let's say that the Democrats turn around and they put out a plan. And there may be some stuff on there that we don't like on that either.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we be having this same conversation talking about that stuff too. Like I said, I don't care either way.
No, and you've always been extremely fair in that regard.
Right.
100%. You've always looked down the middle, unbiased. So I have to give you credit there.
My thing is, I pick who I feel can do the job.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn what you are, as long as you can do the job. You know what I mean? So, with this, my personal opinion. Want to know my personal opinion about this whole election thing right now?
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you.
Yes,
and then
we
we're gonna
do.
get off. I'm gonna tell you this, and then we're gonna get off. I think they both need to be off. Both of them. I think they need to pick whole new people and start over.
I can
My
agree with
personal
this.
opinion.
I can
Personal
agree with
opinion.
that. I can agree with that.
Because you gotta think, we didn't already have Biden's thing. We didn't dealt with Trump's thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his ain't gonna be no better than what he already gave the first time.
Right.
So we need to part ways with both of them. Get you some other people in there, younger
Real.
younger people. Okay, younger people. Meaning, what I mean by younger, if you get up out your chair and if you got to do this, I'm not talking about you. If your knees popping, I'm not talking about you.
Hey,
okay?
well, my knees
If you
pop
gotta,
a little bit.
if you gotta,
You know what I mean?
right? If you gotta put your choppers in a glass,
Oh,
I'm not
Lord.
talking about you.
Oh, shit.
Speaking real stuff over here.
I'm talking about somebody. I mean, you got to think, man. You got to put somebody younger in there that has a fresh view.
Yeah.
And a little bit more cognitive. Yeah.
In a different.
Yes, that part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like people have a more clear vision as to what you see. You know what I mean, and not just keeping on the regular status quo. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because you see what's going on right now. Let me tell you something right quick before we get off of here. I got a friend of mine, real good friend of mine, that lives over in Britain. Now, you know, we was talking about a couple of shows ago, we was talking about the petrodollar, and we was talking about what could happen, value of the dollar drops, stuff like that. Okay, so I'm talking to him on the phone, and we're on Messenger, and he says, "Oh man, I left my wallet. Can you do me a favor? What's that? Can you cash out me $50 and I'll send it back to you as soon as I get to the house?" He said, "Or can you send it on PayPal?" Okay. So I go on PayPal and I put the $25 on there. And of course, you got to exchange it from US dollar to British pound.
Right.
So he asked for $50.
You had to give him like 65.
You know what he got out that $50?
What?
$24.85.
Yeah, that's about right there. Yep.
So right now, $50 US in Britain is $24.85.
That's insane.
So what we were talking about a couple weeks ago,
it's like double. Damn.
About the value dropping because of the petrodollar and because people are selling back this stuff back to the US to give this money back. They're selling back these debts. Your value is dropping tremendously. Used to be the US dollar was more than anything on the planet.
Yeah. Used to be the top dog. No longer.
But yesterday I was in complete shock when I sent $50 to that man and it went $24.85.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Pay attention. Pay attention. Because like I said, people ain't, whether people can say like, "Oh man, this is just a conspiracy shit. This is just some shit that they trying to put
Definitely
in the air
not.
or whatever." They wouldn't be holding all these damn meetings and all these damn group ups and programs and all this stuff if they wasn't serious about trying to push this agenda. There's something there. You know what I mean? It ain't like you just hear this guy just talking about it and ain't nobody really backing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That video I just showed, I mean, you got a crowd of people there where they sitting there telling these people, "Hey, you want to do this? Hey, you come over here, and hey, you come over here and do this. We're going to have classes and we're going to teach you everything you need to know."
Yep.
You know what I mean? So right now it's nothing, but we need to pay attention because this nothing can be something really quick.
100%. And I truly believe that the one thing that needs to happen in this country in order for us to move past something such as where we're in right now is we just need to, I think totally, we should abolish all types of lobbyists. I don't think that money should dictate how you run this country. You know what I mean? If you can raise enough money, then okay, now you're in, you're in that elitist group. Well, there's only 1% of a 1% of the population that even qualifies for that. And they speak for all of us. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, what we got here? We had $1.25.
Did a good one.
So we're gonna say our closings and get up out of here.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do mine. We're gonna let Dr. Monita do hers, and then Mike will have you close it out.
Yes, sir.
So first and foremost, like I said, once again, we thank everybody for coming out and watching. I see the comment chat them blew up. It was like well over 758 comments on there. So everybody has something to say, whether you like the program, don't like the program, don't give a shit. This is just our opinion, brother. It's our
That's
opinion.
Right.
This is
but we're keeping everyone informed.
Right. Right. So we're trying to put this stuff out there so that way you actually know what's going on. You can do your own research. That's what we keep saying all the time. Do your own research. Check it out for yourself. You know what I mean? Don't just take our word for it. I mean, mind you, we sat here. Like I said, I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't read no 900 pages. I did read quite a bit of it though, in order to be able to figure out what I figured out in it. But it's a lot to it, a whole lot to it. You know what I mean? So, the biggest thing is that everybody just needs to, you got to be open-minded. Number one, be open-minded. Don't make no decision based on your political beliefs. Look at this stuff, and in your own heart of hearts, you know the difference between what's right and what's wrong. Okay, and any of this stuff here can easily come on you at any given time. You just never know. You know what I mean? Things happen to people all the time. You know what I mean? So one of these things here that you may say like, oh man, that ain't gonna never happen to me. It'll be the exact thing that happened to you. You know what I mean? So like I said, this is awareness, putting it out there. Nobody's picking no sides. We just want you to, be more proactive, look into this stuff, make your own opinion, your own judgment based off of what you see, what you read and hear, and not what somebody's putting on the news at 6 o'clock, trying to get you to choose a side either or. Look at it for yourself. So, like I said, thank you everybody for coming like always, and see y'all in 7 days. Peace out.
All right. Archbishop Mike, thank you for having me here. Great conversation. And I just like to encourage everyone to just become aware of what's going on out there. I wasn't as aware as I am today, but after familiarizing myself with a lot of the language in the document, I didn't read the whole 900 pages either, but just through videos and reading what I have a higher level of awareness where I can now make decisions that's going to help me move forward as we get into like the whole voting stage, and I can have more intelligent conversations about how this is going to impact me and the people that I love most. And so you have the power to change, and if it's not working for you, then do something about it. That's right.
And I want to thank you, Doctor, for coming on and hanging out with us and having this discussion with us, first of all. I want to thank everyone in here as well for coming and hanging out with all of us. And here's the thing, man. I'm going to say this real quick, is don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word on this panel for this. Do your own research. Look these things up. As Archbishop says, the one thing that we lack in this society right now is we do not read. Do your own research. Study this stuff before you start voting, just willy-nilly, right? So, but with that being said, I can't thank you guys enough for being here. showing the amount of love that you guys did, showing the amount of enthusiasm that you guys did with the show as well. Make sure you guys like the video. Liking the video is the #1 metric of all of YouTube. It pushes it out to everyone else that, we're doing something right over here. Make sure you subscribe to both these channels, actually all three channels. So make sure you guys go on over to everyone's channels. Everything is going to be linked on my side for everyone's channel here. And also, if you would like to support the show, we've got, first of all, we've got Archbishop's Facebook, his Instagram, his TikTok, before TikTok gets banned. We have all of them down below right there. And if you would like to support the Diamond Effect, go ahead and Cash App over at $Bishop8752. And if you guys would like to help me out on my side, I very much appreciate it. All donations are always read live, even after the show. We got Cash App, $Ballvalve, Venmo at Ballvalve, and PayPal, ballvalvetv@gmail.com. Very much appreciate every single one of you guys, and we will see you guys on the flip side. Much love and respect, everybody. We'll see you in 7 days. Peace.
One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free, then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free, mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free.